Hi, I'm Pamela Anderson, and one thing you don't know about me is you pretty much know everything by now. I don't think there's any secrets here.
We have always said it is about the children. It's not just about me. Never just made it about me. I'm just the loudest one.
Pamela Anderson has always been a household name, but in recent months, her story has taken a darker turn as she begins to reveal what really went on at some of Hollywood's most notorious parties. It's hard to believe that the same woman who graced magazine covers and starred in Baywatch was once caught up in the unsettling world of celebrity gatherings hosted by some of the most powerful men in the industry. And now she's ready to speak out, especially about what she witnessed at parties thrown by none other than Sean Diddy Combs.
Really an experience, and I think just it's too hard to come up with one thing, but it was all wild all the time.
Let's be real, Hollywood has always had its fair share of secrets. But what Pamela is hinting at goes far beyond the typical scandals we're used to hearing. We're talking about bizarre rituals, disturbing practices, and events so shocking that even someone as seasoned as Pamela was left shaken to her core. And if you think this sounds like something out of a thriller, you're not wrong. The allegations swirling around Diddy's infamous parties have all the elements of a nightmare that no one saw coming. Pamela's involvement in this story isn't random. She's someone who has been through a lot in Hollywood, facing objectification, exploitation, and a media frenzy that followed her every move. For most of her career, Pamela was seen as just another pretty face, a blonde bombshell who played a lifeguard on TV. But beneath that image is a woman who witnessed some of the darkest sides of fame, and when it comes to Diddy, she's not holding back anymore. So what exactly happened at these parties that left Pamela so disturbed? According to sources close to her, these were no ordinary Hollywood soirees. Sure, there were the usual A-listers, the glamour, and the music. But behind the scenes, there were things going on that Pamela says she can't forget. She's described the atmosphere at Diddy's events as unsettling, with a sense that something much darker was happening just out of sight. It's no wonder she's been hesitant to speak out until now.
Now, to the latest on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs. This one has so many people talking. The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment, as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did we get here?
What's even more disturbing is that Pamela isn't the only one with stories about these gatherings. Over the years, rumors have circulated about what really went down at Diddy's infamous parties. There have been whispers about secretive rituals, odd behaviors, and even allegations of coercion. Several people who attended these events have come forward, describing an environment of manipulation and control. Some say they felt trapped at these parties, unable to leave, while others recount being pressured into doing things they later regretted. These aren't just wild claims made by anonymous sources, either. In fact, some of the allegations have been backed up by other high-profile figures. Take Ally Carter, for example. She recently spoke out about her own experiences at Diddy's parties, claiming that what she saw was nothing short of horrifying. Like Pamela, Ally describes a world where power and control were the currencies, and where people were made to do things they wouldn't have agreed to under normal circumstances. It's the kind of story that makes you wonder just how deep this rabbit hole goes.
So I'm telling you right now, a lot of people don't want to get it. There's enough of you to do something, anything. And there's so many of you able to get loud.
The rumors about Diddy's parties have also caught the attention of several other people in Hollywood. Some have suggested that these events were more than just a good time, they were orchestrated to serve a much darker purpose. There are even claims that certain individuals were being groomed for roles they didn't sign up for, all while being surrounded by people who held enormous influence. If true, these allegations paint a picture of an industry where the lines between fun and exploitation are not just blurred but completely erased. And this brings us back to Pamela. As someone who has spent decades in the spotlight, she knows how Hollywood's power dynamics work. She's seen firsthand how people can be used, discarded, and silenced by those with more influence. But for Pamela, attending one of Diddy's parties was a wake-up call. It wasn't just the typical bad behavior that you might expect at a celebrity event, it was something far more sinister. According to insiders, Pamela left the party early, shaken by what she had seen. She's since confided in close friends that it was one of the most disturbing nights of her life, and she's still processing it years later.
Today, just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
The idea that someone as famous as Pamela Anderson could feel unsafe at a Hollywood party tells you everything you need to know about the kind of environment these events fostered. For years, Hollywood has been a place where people in power could do whatever they wanted without fear of consequences. But Pamela's story, along with others like it, is starting to change that. More and more people are coming forward to share what they experienced, and the picture that's emerging is not pretty. Let's not forget that Diddy has been at the center of several controversies over the years. While his reputation as a music mogul and businessman has made him a household name, there have always been whispers about the darker side of his empire. And now, with more people like Pamela speaking out, those whispers are becoming harder to ignore. The allegations against him are serious, and they're starting to pile up. From claims of manipulation to accusations of coercion, it seems that the world is finally getting a glimpse of what's been hidden behind the glitz and glamour.
After they are done with Diddy, Jay-Z is up next to be exposed, right?
One of the most shocking aspects of these allegations is the idea that Diddy's parties weren't just about having a good time, they were about control. According to multiple sources, guests were often pressured into doing things they weren't comfortable with, all under the guise of having fun. It's been suggested that Diddy used his power and influence to create an environment where people felt they couldn't say no. Whether it was staying at the party longer than they wanted to or participating in activities that made them uncomfortable, many attendees left feeling like they had been manipulated. Pamela's story fits right into this narrative. She's described feeling a sense of unease from the moment she arrived at Diddy's event. What started as a glamorous party quickly took on a more ominous tone, with strange behaviors and unsettling interactions happening all around her. While she hasn't gone into full detail about what exactly she witnessed, it's clear that something about the party left her deeply disturbed, and she's not alone in feeling that way.
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
Other attendees have come forward with similar stories, describing Diddy's parties as anything but typical. Some have even suggested that certain rituals or performances were part of the evening's entertainment activities that went far beyond what you'd expect at a Hollywood event. These so-called performances were allegedly designed to push boundaries and make people feel like they were part of something exclusive. But for many, it crossed the line into something much more sinister. Allie Carter, for example, has spoken about attending Diddy's parties and feeling like she was trapped. She's described a situation where people were encouraged to engage in behaviors they wouldn't normally consider, all while being surrounded by individuals who held significant power in the industry. According to her, it was an environment where saying no wasn't really an option and where people felt pressured to go along with whatever was happening.
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the shoe have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there.
This sense of entrapment is something that Pamela has echoed in her own accounts. While she hasn't gone into as much detail as some of the other attendees, it's clear that she felt something was very wrong at the event. For someone who has been in the industry as long as Pamela, it takes a lot to shock her. But whatever she saw that night left a lasting impression, one that she's still grappling with today. It's important to note that these allegations aren't just coming from one or two people. Over the past few months, more and more individuals have come forward with their own stories about Diddy's parties. Some have described similar experiences to Pamela and Allie, while others have shared even more disturbing accounts. What's becoming clear is that these events weren't isolated incidents, they were part of a larger pattern of behavior that many people in Hollywood were aware of but chose to ignore.
There's no vindication for me because for 4 years I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
This brings us to the bigger question: how did Diddy get away with this for so long? Part of the answer lies in the culture of silence that has dominated Hollywood for decades. For years, people in the industry have known about the dark side of fame, but very few have been willing to speak out, whether it's because they feared for their careers or because they didn't think anyone would believe them. Many victims have stayed silent, but now, with high-profile figures like Pamela Anderson coming forward, that silence is starting to break. Pamela's decision to speak out is a turning point in this story. As someone who has been in the public eye for so long, she has a platform that few others do. Her willingness to share her experiences is helping to shine a light on the darker side of Hollywood, and it's encouraging others to do the same. In many ways, Pamela's story is emblematic of a larger shift that's happening in the entertainment industry. More and more people are realizing that the old rules no longer apply, and that the days of sweeping things under the rug are over.
This is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
Of course, Diddy has denied all of these allegations. Through his representatives, he said that the claims are baseless and that he's being unfairly targeted. But as more people come forward, it's becoming harder for him to dismiss these stories as mere rumors. The sheer number of allegations, combined with the specific details that have been shared, suggest that there's more to this story than Diddy would like us to believe. For Pamela, this isn't just about telling her story, it's about holding those in power accountable. She's made it clear that she's not afraid to speak out, even if it means going up against some of the biggest names in the industry. And she's not alone. Other high-profile figures are starting to join her, sharing their own experiences and demanding answers from those who have abused their power for far too long.
This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
As more details come to light, it's becoming clear that Diddy's parties were just the tip of the iceberg. What Pamela and others have described as a culture of exploitation that goes far beyond one man. It's a system that has allowed powerful individuals to get away with things that would be unthinkable in any other industry. And now that system is starting to crumble. Pamela's story is just one piece of a much larger puzzle, but it's a crucial one because it shows that even those at the top of the fame pyramid aren't immune to the darker side of Hollywood. For too long, people like Diddy have been able to operate in the shadows, using their influence to silence those who might speak out against them. But with Pamela's revelations, the tide is finally starting to turn.
A US judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male workers across state lines to take part in recorded performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence.
As we move forward, it's likely that even more people will come forward with their own stories. And as they do, the full extent of what's been going on behind the scenes in Hollywood will become clearer. For now, though, Pamela's decision to speak out is a powerful reminder that no one is untouchable and that the truth always has a way of coming to light. As more and more people come forward with their stories about the darker side of Hollywood, the focus is no longer just on individual figures like Diddy's. The real question now is, who else was involved? Because let's be honest, it's hard to believe that someone as powerful as Diddy could have pulled off these alleged activities all on his own. There had to be people in his inner circle, industry insiders, maybe even other big names in Hollywood who either looked the other way or were directly complicit in what was happening.
I think it's to be expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. I mean, how long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come, within the next 2 years?
This is where things get even more complicated. For years, Hollywood has operated under a cloud of secrecy, with certain individuals seemingly untouchable. But with the FBI now involved in the investigation, that cloud is starting to lift. And it's not just Diddy who's under the microscope. Rumors are swirling that several other high-profile figures could be implicated, either as enablers or as participants in the disturbing behavior that has been described. Let's dive into the bigger picture here, because this story isn't just about one man's alleged misconduct, it's about a system that allowed it to happen. For years, Diddy was seen as one of the most influential figures in the music and entertainment industries. He built an empire, and along the way, he surrounded himself with people who helped him maintain that power. But now, as these stories come to light, it's becoming clear that some of those people may have played a much bigger role than anyone realized.
I have to still say allegedly, has done things and allegedly participated in a lot of things that the public would not be happy to know.
Think about it, when you're at the top of the entertainment food chain, you don't just get there by accident. You need a team of loyal supporters, people who are willing to keep secrets, make things disappear, and protect your image at all costs. And according to some of the latest whispers coming out of Hollywood, Diddy's team may have done exactly that. There are even rumors that certain individuals helped orchestrate the very events that guests like Pamela Anderson found so disturbing. In fact, some insiders are now claiming that these parties weren't just wild celebrity get-togethers, they were carefully planned affairs where the most powerful people in the room knew exactly what was going on. And worse, they allegedly made sure that anyone who wasn't directly involved stayed quiet. It's a chilling thought, but it's one that's starting to gain traction as more details emerge.
Understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on watch.
What's even more shocking is the idea that some of Hollywood's biggest names may have been aware of these activities and simply turned a blind eye. There are even whispers that a few of them might have been present at these events. Could it be that the silence surrounding Diddy's parties wasn't just because of fear, but because some of the most powerful figures in the entertainment world were complicit in what was happening? It's a question that's starting to get a lot more attention, especially now that the FBI is involved. The fact that federal agents raided Diddy's properties in March 2024 is a huge development in this case. According to reports, the raids were part of a larger investigation into allegations of misconduct that date back years. And while Diddy's legal team has been quick to downplay the significance of the raids, the fact that they happened at all suggests that investigators are taking these allegations very seriously. It's not every day that a federal agency like the FBI gets involved in a case like this, and their presence indicates that there's a lot more to this story than what we've seen so far.
It's a question of that, but when you read through the indictment, it's pretty clear who could be indicted as a co-conspirator. Right now, there are people in the indictment who would be considered unnamed co-conspirators, but clearly have played a role in this conspiracy. And I think prosecutors have some big leverage on them because they're hoping that they testify against Diddy as prosecution witnesses.
What's even more interesting is the possibility that some of the evidence gathered during these raids could implicate other high-profile individuals. According to several sources, investigators seized a large amount of electronic data during the searches, including phones, computers, and other devices. If those devices contain any incriminating information such as messages, emails, or even videos, it could spell trouble for anyone who was involved in or aware of the activities at Diddy's parties. There's also been a lot of speculation about the role that audio and video recordings might play in this investigation. Some insiders have suggested that Diddy regularly recorded certain parts of his events, possibly as a way to keep control over the people who attended. If these recordings exist, they could provide crucial evidence of what really happened at these gatherings and who was involved. And if any of those recordings include footage of high-profile figures engaging in inappropriate behavior, it could lead to some very public reckonings.
If that's part of the indictment, that's someone like a blackmail. He was blackmailing people to be in the freak-offs. So that's federal. That could be that's a federal charge. He can't blackmail people to say, yo, listen here, you did it once and you're gonna do it again. That ain't gonna make it with the government or nobody.
The idea that there could be video evidence of these events is particularly unsettling, especially for those who might have been caught on camera. Imagine being one of Hollywood's most powerful figures and knowing that there's a chance that your darkest secrets could be exposed for the world to see. It's the kind of nightmare that no amount of money or influence can easily fix. But let's not forget that the stakes are even higher than just reputational damage. If the FBI finds enough evidence to support the claims being made, then we could be looking at criminal charges for some of the individuals involved. And we're not just talking about minor charges either. Depending on the nature of the evidence, some of these figures could be facing serious legal consequences that could completely derail their careers and their lives.
Some people do think that Diddy can help him, but this guy's going to be locked up forever. His case will probably take at least 3 years to litigate. He'll stay at MDC. There's rumors that he wants to go to Essex County Jail in New Jersey because he doesn't like MDC. He's a Marshals inmate. There's no way they're going to transfer him back and forth, I don't know, several times a week.
For now, though, Diddy remains the central figure in this investigation. He's already facing multiple lawsuits, and the criminal charges related to the FBI's investigation could be just the beginning. It's been reported that Diddy was arrested in September 2024 on charges that include conspiracy, misconduct, and worse. If convicted, he could be looking at significant jail time, and let's be honest, this isn't just about Diddy anymore. His downfall could lead to a domino effect that takes down several other powerful figures in the process. What's also interesting is the timing of all this. Diddy has been in the public eye for decades, and while he's faced controversies before, nothing has ever come close to the level of scrutiny he's under now. So why is all of this coming out now? Some insiders believe that the current cultural climate is playing a huge role in this shift. In the past, powerful figures in Hollywood could rely on their influence to keep things quiet. But in today's world, where social media and the 24-hour news cycle have made it harder to hide, it seems like those days are over.
Lives, and we may actually see one of the biggest divorces in Hollywood is because Jay-Z is up next to be exposed.
And let's not forget that this is happening at a time when Hollywood is already under intense scrutiny for its handling of misconduct. Over the past few years, we've seen several high-profile cases come to light, and each one has chipped away at the industry's long-standing culture of silence. Now, with Diddy's case front and center, it feels like we've reached a tipping point. The entertainment industry is being forced to confront its darkest secrets, and it's becoming clear that no one, not even the most powerful, will be spared. But here's where things get even more complicated. While Diddy's legal team is fighting hard to clear his name, there are whispers that other high-profile figures are quietly trying to distance themselves from him. According to some sources, several of Diddy's former associates have cut ties with him in recent months, hoping to avoid being dragged into the scandal. And it's not just industry insiders who are keeping their distance. Some of Diddy's celebrity friends have also remained conspicuously silent in the wake of his arrest.
As far as, is he going to turn people in? Is he going to cooperate? If the federal government wants him to cooperate and they're going to cut his time, because right now he's looking at 15 to life. With all the charges he had to, he won't get out till 70 years old. He about 70. That's when they start talking about letting him come to a halfway house.
One name that keeps coming up in these conversations is none other than Jay-Z. As one of Diddy's longtime associates, Jay-Z has been linked to him for years, both professionally and personally. But as the allegations against Diddy continue to pile up, people are starting to wonder, could Jay-Z have known what was going on? And if so, what does that mean for his own reputation? Let's be clear, there's no concrete evidence linking Jay-Z to the activities that have been described at Diddy's parties. But that hasn't stopped the rumors from swirling. Some insiders have suggested that Jay-Z and Diddy were much closer than the public realized, and that Jay-Z may have been aware of some of the more unsavory aspects of Diddy's personal life. Others have gone even further, speculating that Jay-Z may have attended some of the very events that are now under investigation.
But after that major documentary comes out on Diddy, then you're going to start to hear more and more about Jay-Z and his nefarious past.
Of course, Jay-Z's camp has remained silent on these rumors, and it's likely that we'll never get a straight answer from him on this. After all, Jay-Z is known for keeping his private life exactly that private. But in an industry where image is everything, even the hint of scandal can be damaging. And with Diddy's case still unfolding, it's possible that Jay-Z could find himself facing questions he'd rather avoid. What's even more interesting is how this could impact Jay-Z's relationship with other powerful figures in the industry. Over the years, Jay-Z has built a reputation as one of the savviest businessmen in entertainment, forging alliances with some of the biggest names in the game. But if the Diddy scandal continues to grow, it could force some of Jay-Z's allies to reevaluate their relationships with him. After all, no one wants to be associated with someone who's facing public scrutiny, especially when the stakes are this high.
Jay-Z got his whooped by his sister-in-law on camera. What's her name? Solange. You got it. The feds ain't step in and do nothing. The feds don't care about you getting your whooped.
And let's not forget that Jay-Z isn't the only one who could be affected by this. Beyonce, who has been married to Jay-Z for over a decade, is also one of the most influential figures in the entertainment world. While she's managed to keep her distance from most controversies, the fact that her husband is being linked, however tenuously, to the Diddy scandal could create problems for her as well. As one of the most beloved and respected artists in the world, any association with a scandal of this magnitude could have serious repercussions for her public image. It's worth noting that Beyonce has remained silent on the issue so far, and there's no indication that she was ever involved in any of the events under investigation. But in Hollywood, perception is everything. And with the media buzzing about the potential connections between Diddy and other high-profile figures, it's possible that Beyonce could find herself caught in the crossfire.
But there's also strategic reasons for the prosecutors to want him to have co-defendant, because right now he hasn't waived his right to a speedy trial, which would force prosecutors to take him to trial pretty quick, which they actually might not be ready to do. But if they supersede him and have co-defendants with him, it makes it a lot easier to pursue a trial continuance without him waiving his speedy trial right.
At this point, it's impossible to say how far-reaching the fallout from this scandal will be. What's clear, though, is that the entertainment industry is in for a reckoning. With the FBI actively investigating and more victims coming forward, we're likely to see even more revelations in the coming months. And as those revelations come to light, they could take down some of the most powerful figures in Hollywood. For now, all eyes are on Diddy as he prepares to face the legal battle of his life. But make no mistake, this story is far from over. The deeper investigators dig, the more likely it is that we'll see other high-profile names dragged into the scandal. And if the rumors about certain individuals being complicit are true, then Hollywood could be on the verge of its biggest shakeup yet.
I thought Diddy would be throwing all his celebrity mates under the bus.
I mean, that could potentially be coming when it's time for court and when it's time for him to testify. But what we're seeing right now is how important public relations really are to Sean Combs. He's desperately trying to control the narrative behind bars, allowing his attorneys to do documentaries.
So with all the jaw-dropping allegations coming to light, what do you think? Is Hollywood finally ready to confront its darkest secrets? Or will powerful insiders manage to bury this story before more names come out? And what about those rumored connections? Do you believe other celebrities might have known what was happening at these notorious parties? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't hold back. See you in the next one.